Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have herO here in the bottom left, spawning as our blue Protoss player, versus Gumiho, the tricky Terran player, spawning in the top right as our red Terran player, opening up with a gas first, while we see herO opening up with a rather quick second pylon, which gets proxied on the map. Now, this usually would indicate something like a second gateway that gets proxied close by Gumiho's base. And a lot of this game is actually going to depend right now on what Gumiho does next. Is this going to be a quick factory follow-up? Will he scout with an SCV? Will the command center be constructed on the high ground? There's a lot of questions, and so far no answers really. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to end up happening. I'm just happy to see one of my favorite players open up with a proxy gate. Of course, herO here. It's most Protoss players' favorite player at the moment, because it's really the only Protoss player that's winning anything. Does struggle a little bit every now and again in the Protoss versus Protoss matchup, but when it comes to PvT and PvZ, he's by far the best. He'll finish this Zealot most likely, especially because it's being chrono boosted. And ooh, command center on the high ground here. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that Gumiho is ahead or that Gumiho has won the game. But it does mean that Gumiho is in a better situation than if the CC would be on the low ground. To be fair, if you open up gas first and build the CC on the low ground, I don't think there's a lot of situations that are worse than that. I love the timing of this probe. This probe, oh my god, this was brilliant. This probe went in knowing that it was going to die. But he just wanted to keep the Reaper at home so that the Zealot can make its way across the map for free. Otherwise that Reaper might find the Zealot, or even worse, it might end up finding this second gateway proxied. That probe sacrifice, I'm not saying wins the game, but has a huge impact here on the outcome of the game. Reaper taking a little bit of damage already. And one of the SCVs in the wall is also going to get taken out, as the depot hasn't finished quite up yet. This actually means that we have a massive supply block here coming for Gumiho. He's going to be capable of finishing up this depot eventually, can repair it as well, but the Stalker will shoot over it and will take out a couple more SCVs. First mine is about to be popping out as well as the Reaper about to enter the main base of herO. herO already building a Nexus and will most likely also be capable of taking down this Reaper here. So that means that another Adept can make its way across the map. Depot has already fallen at this point. Mine will take out a Stalker. 5 SCVs have been killed. Reaper went down. GG gets caught. Gumiho sees no future in this game with 0 units out and about 4 units in his main base. Says, okay, game 1, you can have it, herO. Let's see what happens in the second one. Second game will be played over here on Stargazers. Once again, we see Gumiho actually opening up with a gas first. I always respect this a little bit. You know, when in the first game you get blasted playing your gas first, and in the second game you say, you know what, I'm just going to stick with what I wanted to play the first time around. I don't really mind that. I actually think that's a pretty cool thing to do here. I actually do believe that. He's going to get a fast factory because we had no barracks in the wall this time around, though. Somewhat surprising. Maybe actually is going to be helping him, but hard to say exactly. Ooh. Oh. herO's in a cheesy mood. Let's take a look at the timing there. Okay, just a standard timed gateway. In the past I've seen herO open up with like a 14 gate, 13 pylon 14 gate. Doesn't seem to be the case here. So the Cybernetics core starts at 126. That's a little bit late even for a regular core first, with a 14 pylon 15 or 16 gate, whatever you want to call it. This is an interesting start though. This is one of these build orders which Terrans complain about a lot. And whenever you play them, and your name isn't herO or... No, actually just herO. If your name isn't herO, you're just always behind, it feels like. Your opponent just has everything out that they want to. However, if your name is herO, your Oracle gets 12 kills. Your Zealot kills 4 SCVs that are building the command center. Life just isn't fair sometimes, you know? Like, he dodges multiple pianos on his way over to the other side of the map. Some unlikely scenarios happen whenever I watch herO play. At first I believed that herO just consistently got very lucky. But if herO actually was consistently this lucky, he probably could make it his job just buying lottery tickets and like scratch off tickets. Because it's insane how well he does and how often it resembles luck. It makes no sense. It feels like every single time that he proxies, he He doesn't get scouted. Every single time he opens with an Oracle, his opponent, yep, opens up with a Hellion, which is the worst case scenario here, of course, for Gumiho. Gumiho sees this Zealot and might immediately start thinking, hey, is this the same thing as last game? Now sees the timing of this Adept and the lack of a Stalk here and probably knows, no, this is not the same as last game. If he gets the second Hellion, this game, I don't want to say ends, but it ends. This is so bad. Like, this is what I mean. Yes, it's already annoying here for Gumiho that his natural gets cancelled for a little bit, that this Adept is going to get a couple of kills, but this all would be completely fine. His CC would still be faster, worker count would be pretty close, honestly. Slightly in favor, maybe, of herO for a little bit, but the moment you start producing from your natural, that will all be okay. The real problem, though, is going to be this Oracle, and without enough units to shoot up, this Oracle is just going to do way too much damage. There we go, like I said, herO always gets 6-7 kills with Oracles. Here's already on 5 right now, gets a couple of more Marines as well. Might even decide to dive back in, pick off 2 more SCVs, target down the Mule. No, it's just gonna pick up a couple of extra SCVs. 9 workers have gone down, and for the second game in a row, honestly, within 7 minutes of this series starting, it feels like the score already is 2-0. Like, this game feels insanely over right now. And hero's gonna get, what, 3 more worker kills here. There we go. Mine is going to re-burrow. herO will need to move away from that. He's, oh my god! He went for the sacrifice play. Does not quite get the mine now. Good control there out of Gumiho, and Gumiho at the same time also has a Reaper across the map. Now, if this Reaper gets 15 kills, this game could get very close. Barely doesn't get it. Almost got a single kill there. Oh, that was really close. If that Reaper just stays alive for another 35 to 40 seconds, and herO falls asleep on the keyboard, we're entering a situation where the game might go into a kind of even mid-game, and we really have a game on our hands here. That was super unlucky there for Gumiho, that herO didn't fall asleep. You hate to see it. Now, this is the type of luck that I'm talking about. It is still possible if Gumiho gets 35 kills with these mines. Oh my god. herO actually not microing. He's gonna lose 6 workers here. That actually was really poor control out of herO. He was there as well. Maybe he thought it was just going to be 1 mine and a couple of Marines. I think what happened here is that herO saw the first mine drop, and then he saw the first Marine drop. And it's really uncommon for there to be a mine drop where there's multiple mines, and they don't get dropped immediately. People usually, if there's more than 1 mine, they go mine, and then they start dropping the Marines, because the mines want to burrow as quick as possible. So what I think happened here is that herO saw the mine drop, then the Marine, and was like, okay, there's no more mines. There's going to be a 6 Marine drop behind this. But it wasn't, and then the second mine managed to deal a lot of damage, because herO didn't really believe it anymore. Now, don't get me wrong, this was annoying for herO, but herO's already up to 4 gas, is getting triple tech structures right now, is up 10 workers, while his opponent is on a 1-1-1 setup. This is the most primitive type of setup that you can really have at this point in the game as a Terran player, and anything that comes out of here, oh my god, a Dark Shrine, charge, and +1. This either shows that herO believes he's so far ahead that he can't lose anymore, or he has some new wild build that he's trying to execute here that I don't quite understand. He has freaking 5 Stargate units and now is building a Dark Shrine. Like, if this was an actual game, which, let's face it, it isn't. If this was an actual game, holding the 3-1-1 push out of the Terran with the triple barracks production would be extremely difficult, because you literally have no money for infrastructure whatsoever. Like, so many little upgrades, so many units already being built, like these specialized units here. The Phoenix is trying to get in. Where's the Oracles, actually? They're just staying at home for now. It still feels like that at this point, Gumiho really has no business staying in this game, right? He's down in supply, hasn't started stim yet. I mean, if the opponent gets +1 before you even start your stim, that usually is a relatively bad sign. Well, relatively bad sign. This is like if you get a skull drawn while the guy is reading your tarot cards. You know, you don't believe in the crap, but still, you just want to be sure. You know, don't mess with the skull. Get like 4 skull cards, despite there only being 1 skull card in the deck. And even I would believe that, you know, something bad is about to happen. It's the same here for Gumiho. No, like, you better believe that something bad's about to happen. As I say that, this army out of Gumiho is actually relatively big. Where's the army here for herO? I guess a lot of that is just in... Oh yeah, this is an Archon? Yeah, okay, never mind. This is... Holy crap, this is a stomp. From actual start to finish, a massive, massive stomp. +1 is about to finish up as well, finally. Charge is coming in, 9 SCVs have gone down already. I mean, even if Gumiho manages to clear this initial line, we still have a super battery available, at least. Actually, there's no energy right now. Still don't think it's really going to matter. Super battery actually got activated already, I missed that, my bad. Warp in a couple of zealots with the +1 upgrade. Phoenix is going to live one of these tanks. I mean, herO tried his best to lose this game, but this was unlosable. Went into 4 different tech routes and still managed to hold this. GG gets called as he takes the 2-0 lead. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. This has not quite been the series that I've wanted it to be or expected it to be. I thought, you know, we have Gumiho, is cheesy? Yeah, he's cheesy. He's a little bit cheesy. Likes to take risk. Then we have herO, also likes to take risk. And I figured we'll get some action-packed games, you know, some dynamic Terran versus Protoss where both players are throwing everything in the kitchen sink at each other. But so far it's just been kind of bad, honestly. And I think the reason for it is in order to really showcase the aggressive brilliance of both of these players, they need to play against someone that wants to defend. But neither player here wants to defend. Both of them are just ready to basically stab one another. And yeah, one just gets stabbed and they'll bleed out. It's just not that interesting to watch, you know? You kind of want to see a dance, a defensive dance, and then the other guy trying to jump forward aggressively with the knife and someone deflecting skillfully. But there's no deflecting here. They're just going for the throat immediately. And am I disappointed by this series so far? Yes. Will it get better? I don't know. But at least herO is opening up with a Nexus. This is a faster Nexus than we've seen so far in this entire series. So I have, well, I don't want to say high hopes, but I have mediocrely high hopes right now that we might actually get into somewhat of a game over here. So we see herO starting with a warp gate as well as an adept coming out of this gateway. Interesting stuff. Cool little wall as well over here on the Moondance. Moondance, of course, a cool map, which you have this little area. This pro pisses me off. I'm afraid it's going to go in at some point. It's going to drop down a pylon and accidentally win the game. Stargate gets built here. So adept into Stargate. Don't think Gumiho is going to get the information on that. Don't think he will indeed. Look at this bad boy. Hey boss, am I allowed to stand still yet? No, keep patrolling. Must be a pretty bad job to have, just patrolling the one spot. I know why he does it as well, because he doesn't want it to show up as an idle worker. Guess you could also hold position it, but patrolling feels better. Not sure why, just does. I love this scout here out of here, honestly. Sees that there's Marines out already, knows that there's not going to be a second Reaper because of that. Just based on the timing of the reactor and the first 2 Marines that are out here. That's actually somewhat important info. Did not quite get any follow-up information, so doesn't know what's being constructed here on the factory. Could just be a mine drop, could also be a cyclone, could also be a tank, but could also be a cyclone. And it is a cyclone, which is why I mentioned cyclone twice. One of these adepts is going to fall if Gumiho continues microing, and of course Gumiho will continue microing. Did Gumiho actually already figure out what it is? Oh yeah, he saw the Stargate. No wonder he got the Cyclone in that case. This is a really cool build. I saw Showtime defend this against Maru when Maru played this build. And it looked so powerful, the defense there. That was with 2 Oracles, a bunch of Phoenixes and an infinite amount of Adepts. We don't see any Oracles here coming out of herO. Instead what we see is just pure Phoenixes and a couple of Adepts already. Battery being constructed in the natural as well is actually going to be somewhat helpful. But the unit count is surprisingly low, especially given, of course, the fact that one of these adepts has died already. It used to be 3, now there's only 2. And although 2 makes a pair, I don't think herO would have minded an odd number here. Because 3 adepts definitely would have been better for any of these defensive moves. Gumiho's going to end up sieging. Is he actually going to go for it? That would be kind of cool. I would not mind that at all. Actually, I would do the opposite of minding that. I would like it a lot. Phoenix gonna get targeted down. On the ground, these adepts will end up falling as well. One Phoenix dies, Medevac dies, and I think 4 Marines end up falling. This was a good trade once again though for Gumiho, wasn't it? Gumiho still has a lot more units being produced behind this. His initial plan was to take out the production on the high ground, then just kind of wait and send out a second wave of units. This is going to be an interesting trade here, with a Viking being taken out and nothing dying. It's not much of a trade if you're Gumiho. It's more like a robbery in broad daylight. Phoenixes will manage to fly out as well. Gumiho still just continuing his marine production. He's pretty all in with this, honestly. And I'm surprised to see a Forge and Twilight being thrown down here out of herO. I would have loved to see continued adept production at this point, because there's not even a second barracks yet right now. Third command center does get constructed in the far back. Uh-oh. Oh no, I know what's gonna happen. This is a typical herO move. I do not like this. Oh no. He's going to shade across the map with 6 adepts and fly in with the Phoenixes and try to lift everything. Then he'll realize that 2 Cyclones and 13 Marines, plus the 2 tanks that are here, are going to be enough to defend. And herO will be very far behind. Oh no, he does this so often and it never freaking works. Adept shade in, first Phoenix get taken out, second Phoenix get taken out, 1 Cyclone will end up falling. But that's going to be 1 Cyclone for 4 Phoenixes. Every single adept went down and 1 tank fell as well. Once again, for the 30th time in a row, a great trade here for Gumiho. This is unbelievable. I can't believe that herO keeps making the same exact move every single time. It is so common for him to play this. It's actually insane. Whenever he believes that he's being all-in, and he builds a couple too many Phoenixes and a couple too many adepts, rather than keeping them alive and harassing with the Phoenixes into the main base, 95% of the time he pulls this move. And legit 85% of the time, of the 95% of the time, so that is what? That's a number that I can't calculate in my head, but it's a large number. It just goes completely wrong. It just goes terrible, and he doesn't straight up lose the game, but he puts himself in a position where the game is pretty much lost. Then he accidentally comes back into the game and people will say, see, it's because of the early game. No, it is despite the early game. herO is brilliant at coming back into games, but this game might be too hard even for him. He's following this up with a +1 glaive adept attack. Now, if you don't know much about StarCraft 2, you might be wondering why the +1 here over the armor, and the answer to that is pretty simple. As long as there's no combat shield, these adepts will manage to 2-shot Marines. As long as these SCVs are alive and they don't have +2 armor, I think it's +2 armor, the adepts will also 2-shot SCVs. So get a Prism in the main base with a bunch of adepts, you're going to be having a fantastic time. And this follow-up actually has some real potential if it wasn't for the wall. A relatively simple way of going about it, but should probably be good enough. Look at that tank. That's a big and powerful tank, huh? There really is. A couple of Marines trying to snipe down that Prism. At the same time, we have these adepts in the natural, but there's a tank down there. There's a couple of Marines down there as well. This is just not going to work. Oh, unless this warp in... No, even with this warp in finishing, I don't think it's going to work. Phoenix is already rather low. Stim does end up finishing up. Adepts actually get in towards the natural, though, after they take out the depot. That's somewhat of a big deal, but don't forget, this is on a very low eco as well here for herO, who has to tap out as the Raven also gets a couple of kills in. GG gets called, and the score is 2-1 in favor of herO. Alright, here we are in game number 4 of this best of 5, which so far has been... Do I want to use the word underwhelming? Yes, I think I want to use the word underwhelming here. This has been an underwhelming series so far, with each time a player attacked and the other one dying or surviving and then dying to a counter attack. It has been a little bit sad. Ooh, you have Gumiho actually opening up with a proxy Rex. I like that. I would have preferred it being on the top side though, over here, because herO usually walls on this map and he's walling once again. Yeah. This is an interesting wall though. This is, in my estimations, not a wall, which makes it a bad wall. This one's supposed to be one to the left and a little bit down, allowing you to build the cybernetic square over here. But I could be wrong. Sometimes there's multiple walls possible, so I'll hold off on passing judgment here. Walls are interesting. One of my mates once went to Australia and went to a place called, I think it was called Fraser Island, which has a pretty large population of dingoes. And these dingoes, after he went, I think had attacked like a kid or something. And they were putting up fencing there as well. Once again showing off the importance of fences and walls. I can't quite recall where I was going with it, but walls and fencing, that's what I was going for. Okay, we're gonna see right now if this is a wall or not. It doesn't feel like a wall. I think this area needs to be covered as well, which is fine if you have gateway over here and then one towards the bottom side. And then you can push your cybercore one down as well and one to the right. And then you should be fine. We'll see. What's the Reaper gonna do? Yeah. He jumps straight up. Beautiful stuff. herO consistently gets almost all of his walls wrong. I'm not quite sure how it's possible, but he does do it. He's an instinctual player, you know? He's not a scientific player. Scientific players tend to be losers as well, you know? Optimizing everything. herO just does what feels right. I like that. Because often what he believes feels right also is the correct move. 99% of the times. But when it comes to walling, you know, there's a reason we invented engineers. Maybe we should, you know, leave the building to the engineers. And then we just copy it here. Really all you need to do is just check out, there's this guy called Gemini, who makes a post on like his Twitter or on like the Protoss subreddits on how to wall against Reapers and how to wall against Zerg. Every single time there's a new map pool. And you just check that out and you copy that. And then if you find a better wall, you flame him on Twitter as well. That's one of my favorite things. But never do it from your main account, so he doesn't know it's you. Not the real Harstem. Always send him some angry messages if I find a better wall. This is going to be a Marauder all-in, by the way. Well, all-in? Yes, actually this is an all-in. I was going to say this is a build that needs to kill the opponent or you're dead. So, yeah, that's pretty much the definition of an all-in. He's going to go in with 3 Marauders. Ideally, what you do here... Listen, this is the plan. You send the Reaper in towards the main base. And then you go into the natural. You right-click on the battery. And that's it. Then you win the game. That is the plan here. That should be the plan. Instead, Gumiho is going to boost in towards the main base. Ooh, look at that. Actually goes for the pylon here. As the Hellions move in towards the natural. There's still 2 Stalkers in the natural. There's so many units here. This is insane. How did herO get this many units? That doesn't even make any sense whatsoever. Hellions actually make their way up towards the high ground. Hellions gonna chase these Stalkers. Like I said, you need to deal a crap ton of damage here. Killing pure Stalkers isn't good enough. You need to kill like 7, 8, 9, 10... Fusion Core is a follow-up. This isn't even a build order, is it? He just made this up on the spot. I'm never sure if... I feel like if Gumiho would start a YouTube channel, he would do very well. His build orders are just always some dumb challenge, or at least they feel like a dumb challenge. Like some Marauder all-in, into Proxy Battlecruiser, into mech. No, it's not going to be mech, actually. It's going to be a one-base Battlecruiser all-in. The best part is that herO is not going to scout for it, obviously, because like you don't want to walk over there just to find an empty tech lab, because that's what's going to happen 99% of the time. herO already spotted as well that there's no natural, right? I know people here who would take a 3rd base as Protoss. I probably would have taken a 3rd base. Be like, oh, I feel I'm in a good spot, but let me take a 3rd. Not scouting if there's a natural whatsoever. This BC shouldn't be capable of dealing too much damage, but without a battery in the main base, maybe something is possible. Stalkers in the main will take out a couple of workers. Not the end of the world, because I don't feel like that Gumiho is going to be lacking money. He's lacking production mainly right now. BC is going to finish up in about 15 seconds, and then we'll fly in towards the main base. There's literally no anti-air here. This is the saddest all-in I've seen in my life. It also gets spotted here by this prism. Right now here's like, this is weird. Like he could just build 7 batteries at this point. And that's probably what he's gonna do. If he takes a 3rd base, I'll actually fly over to Korea to flame him in person. Okay, thank the Lord. It's just a scouting probe. And here comes the battlecruiser. Takes out one stalker. This is just bad. The battlecruiser is an insane investment as well. So if it doesn't pay off, it's just bad. I really wouldn't mind seeing 2 extra batteries here. I think that would be a good call, personally. I really think that would be a good call. Okay, 1 more battery. Pylon in the back. Double Immortal in the Prism as well. Imagine you get Yamato, you snipe the Prism with the 2 Immortals in it. Oh, hero's missing the move out. How sick would that be? Gets caught off guard. Very sick. That would actually be very sick. Here comes the move, here comes the move, here comes the move. Double Immortals. Oh! Excuse me? 1 tank is going to get taken out, but it also means that 1 Immortal dies. I guess that's a good trade overall, right? 1 Immortal for 1 tank. Also loses the Prism though. Second BC is 70%, 85% done as well or so. No blink yet on these Stalkers, don't think it's quite going to matter though. Tank will get taken out here eventually. And as the BC barely manages to escape, there's 2 BCs still alive. It's just not going to be good enough. GG gets called, and after a disappointing 21-22 minutes or so, this series is now officially over. This is it. This is StarCraft 2 as well, my friends. This is what happens when you put 2 players against one another that don't really want to build a 3rd base. They just don't build a 3rd base. They stay on 1 or on 2 bases. That's what happens. That will be it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it, despite the short games. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye to the bye.